I'm so pleased to be able to speak with you. I so appreciate you agreeing to do this interview, so thank you.
Thanks for having me.
So, Tom, tell me, what region of the world are you from?
I'm in the UK. I'm specifically in Cornwall, that famous location from Tomb Raider Legend, not far from TRLE.
That's amazing. And tell me your origin story. What brought you to Tomb Raider, or how did Tomb Raider find you?
Well, I started playing the games quite young, so I was about 8 or 9 when I first played the Tomb Raider game, and I followed each release from about Tomb Raider 4 onwards, so that kind of shows my age. And then I joined the community online in between Angel of Darkness and Tomb Raider Legend. I didn't start getting involved with TRLE until much later, so I've been active in the community, and at a later time then I started to sort of get involved with it more creatively.
How did you discover the TRLE community and level building?
I've been aware of it from the beginning, really, because I initially started an Angel of Darkness continuation project with Ellie Croft, and we explored the possibility then of sort of using TRLE to make some custom levels inspired by Angel of Darkness. But at that time, the software that people used was a lot more complex to use, I guess. There were more issues with it. It took a lot of patience, and I'm not a patient guy. So it was only really when Tomb Editor got released much later on, I think around 2018, that someone like me could look at the buttons and understand them.
And you've released some levels that are on TRLE.net?
I've released 3 now. The first one was a sort of Lara's Home level, which I think, are 2 a penny out there, but it's a great way to sort of test out your skills with the editor and, play with a familiar environment, and one that people do tend to enjoy, right? Mm-hmm. Then I moved on to working on a Create a Classic project, which Agent XP hosted, and that was called Lost in the Amazon.
Okay.
I loved working on that, and after I finished with that, I was inspired to sort of build upon that a bit further. That project has been, that sort of continuation of Lost in the Amazon has been sort of on hold for a while, but while that's been on hold, I took up a Tomb Raider 3 project, and that's supposed to explore Sophia Lay's origins, and I released a demo of that over Christmas.
That's exciting. So it sounds like story is important to you.
Oh yeah. I think because every Tomb Raider fan, I think, has their headcanon about Lara and the people around her, and I think that TRLE is a great way of sort of exploring that and showing people how you view the Tomb Raider universe in a creative way. So I'm actually, what really inspired me to do the latest project for Tomb Raider 3 London was I watched a stream which included Andy Sandham on Tomb of Ashes stream, the dev stream.
Yeah.
He was talking about how the London levels were inspired by Hawksmoor, and that explores the sort of myths and origins of the multiple churches and the cathedral in London. I thought, how fascinating is that, and then I think that fired off a whole new headcanon for me.
Oh, that's so cool. That's really great how that developed for you. So how interesting. Do you have any other builders that you especially admire or enjoy their work?
Absolutely. So I think one thing that people don't fully appreciate from the outside, or maybe don't fully know, is just how closely we all collaborate with each other over Discord. Especially, we've got our own builder Discords out there. Mm-hmm. And I've had so much help from so many different builders, and so many of them have inspired me. If I had to pick a few, I'm inspired by Law Raider. I did collab with him a little bit when we worked on Create a Classic. He released Puna's Revenge, which was also heavily Tomb Raider 3 inspired. I love his use of colour palettes, very vibrant, and the challenges that he uses. They're accessible for players, but then he'll also add in secrets that encourage more advanced players to test themselves. And I think that's the way TRLE is going. We're trying to reach out to people that will be able to pick up TRLE for the first time and say, yes, I want to try more. And in that vein, I think Delka's another builder that is very much of that sort of approach. So that's, yeah, he's another one that I appreciate. I am very inspired by the work that Martini does. He hasn't released anything for a while, but he shares a lot of things on our Discord, and his attention to detail is incredible. I could go on forever. We all love T-Tac. The Mists of Avalon project that she's working on, a life's work there, beautiful to look at, amazing. There's such talent out there.
It's incredible, and from all over the world.
All over.
Yeah, it's amazing that something like this can bring people together from very different parts of the globe. It's incredible.
And, you know, I appreciate that streamers like yourself, you know, you give us a platform, and I am fascinated when I watch people play my levels. I love watching how people's minds sort of work out the puzzle and how they all go about it in different ways. So
is it ever surprising? Are you ever like, oh my gosh, I didn't think it would be played this way, or oh, they're figuring that out in a way I never thought of?
Every time.
Yeah.
Every person has a different approach. It's great.
Yeah, I find that fascinating too when I watch streamers. I'm like, oh, they're tackling this not in a way that I would have even dreamt of. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, definitely. DJ Full is one for that. Like, he tends to approach things in a way that I would have never imagined. But it's great because it gets me then to think as a builder, how else could I sort of challenge someone next time? So
yeah. And in terms of future projects, it sounds like you're going to really flesh out your Hawksmoor project more.
So I'm at a little bit of a crossroads. I when I first started a few of these projects, especially Amazon, I was out of work and it was locked down and we all had lots of time on our hands, and so the scope of the project was very big, very ambitious. And as I mentioned to you earlier, I'm not the most patient with people. You know, I tend to pick something up, and if I don't make much progress with it, I'm very sort of quick to put it down. So as much as I've become a more patient person, I think what I'm looking at now is maybe incorporating or combining some of the existing projects together. So perhaps there may be a multi-level adventure that includes Amazon and London, but folds in some of the mythos from both. That's what I'm thinking at the moment.
This is a common theme, I think, that I've found with people who do building. You know, sometimes life takes you in different directions. Sometimes it's years before you come back to something, but it always seems pretty intense during the building period.
Yeah, well, it can be quite leisurely up until you reach a deadline, and then as with any video game development project, there's a crunch. And when I was working on the demo over New Year's, there were a few days where I was firmly chained to my desk, coffee in hand, and it was intense, but so worth it. Like I say, watching people play it and appreciate it, that's great. That makes it worthwhile. But I think that what I would like to do next is, so one thing I've started taking up recently is sketching, a lot of stuff by hand. So I have been doing some little concepts of items for the inventory and, areas that I can work on. So I don't just build levels, I build assets too. So I'm looking to bring more of that into my workflow in future, because it's getting me to create some things that are more outside the box.
Oh, that's fun. That's amazing. So you're growing your own talent and your own interest within the TRLE.
Yeah, and that's the way it works, I think. If you have a passion, then you don't need to be 100% with it all of the time, and it's got to work for you. And yeah, I'm just finding a way to make these projects work for me, so that then I can eventually put something out there.
That's amazing.
It'll happen.
If people want to find you, where can you be found? It sounds like in some of the Discords that are specific to builders.
I've got a profile on TRLE.net. You can find some levels there. I think it's under Reggie. I'm Tom Reginald on the Discord.
Okay.
And I do have a Twitch page as well. I haven't streamed in a long time because my internet signal here, I live in like a really old house, or part of an old house. And it's built in like the 1850s. It's so old, and so the walls are like that big.
Yeah.
But I would like to get back to streaming as well and share more of what I do. Although I'm not around as much, I'm still there in the background doing a bit of building.
That's great. That's great. Thank you so much for agreeing to speak with me.
Thanks for having me. Absolute pleasure.